Yo, what's going on, Headliner Nation? Welcome back to the Fantasy Headliners. And even though the regular season is done, it doesn't mean your boys are going anywhere. That's right. We are still here throughout the playoffs to help you break down some of these games and talk about what we've got going on in these matchups. And on Sunday, game preview and predictions for Baltimore and Tennessee. A nice matchup here in the playoffs this year. Let's see if Tennessee can pull it out again. But first and foremost, let's take a look at the big name injuries to watch. Well, there really isn't any. Jimmy Smith from the Baltimore Ravens, but this is a pretty healthy game, which with the way this season has gone with people missing consistently for COVID or injuries or whatever it may be, to see a matchup like this come in without any real injury concerns, obviously outside of Jimmy Smith, or big names that could be missing that could greatly influence its matchup, this is going to be a relatively healthy game, and that's what we love to see, especially here in the playoffs. So not much that we're going to have to take a look at in terms of injuries for this matchup. How about some DFS picks to consider? For those of you out there playing some DFS, looking to win a little bit of moolah, who should you be taking a look at? Well, on the Ravens side, obviously Lamar Jackson is going to have a pretty hefty bill on his name. And then Dobbins, Marquise Brown, and Mark Andrews. Now, Marquise Brown, for the way that he has been playing recently, I mean, the dude's been on fire. Last 5 games looking really, really good this season. And that pass offense for the Baltimore Ravens really taking a step forward over the last several weeks and looking good. The Jackson-Marquise Brown connection, or the stack if you want to use it, could be a really good one. I mean, Brown coming in at $5,400 is going to be significantly lower than, say, an A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown and Corey Davis are probably going to have a little bit more of a tough defensive matchup. But Marquise Brown at only $5,400 with the way he's been playing. This secondary in Tennessee just continues to get lit up. It has not been playing well. And with as good as the Baltimore offense has been playing, that's what you want to see. And then, of course, a guy like Derrick Henry, $9,200. You're going to have to pay a little bit if you want to get the D train in your lineup, King Henry. We'll see if they can get him going. But that's going to be part of the keys to success in this game. For the Baltimore Ravens, it's all about that early lead. They got to get out in front, and that's going to be the biggest thing for this team. Because if Baltimore is out in front, they get to run their game plan the way that they want to, whether it's utilizing the running game with Dobbins or Jackson or Gus Edwards, whether it's utilizing Mark Andrews or Marquise Brown. If they get put behind and they get in a position where they have to throw the ball, where they're forced to throw it, that is when things can become awry. And we've seen that with Lamar Jackson. And even in this matchup last year, if you put Lamar Jackson into a situation where he is being forced to throw the football and not necessarily throwing the football on his own accord, that's where you start to see a little bit of issues with the consistency and the explosiveness of that offense. In the passing game's got to keep it up. Okay, a lot of people were disappointed in Lamar Jackson in the passing game for the better part of the first half of the season, almost the entire first half of the season. But they have been rolling as of late. And a lot of times, especially in sports, it's all about timing, right? It's about how you're playing right now. I see this in baseball a lot. Being a huge baseball fan, it's not necessarily what somebody did at the beginning or the middle of the season, but it's those teams at the very end of the regular season that are playing hot. Those are the teams that you got to really be scared of. And right now, Baltimore is one of those dangerous teams, exactly like the Buffalo Bills. Now, that's a different matchup. That'll be talked about at a different time. But those are kind of those hot teams right now. For what about Tennessee? Well, Tennessee, you got to run the football. It's going to be all about King Henry, right? Derrick Henry has got to be explosive in this game. He has to be able to tear up the yards. He has got to keep control of this game. The more you can keep Lamar Jackson off the field, the better. The more that they can control this game, the better. And the best part about it is if they can run efficiently, then hopefully they can get one of those big plays to A.J. Brown for a touchdown. And then Tennessee going up on Baltimore can really put it to them. And then again, put Baltimore in a position that makes it tough to win. So what are we looking at here? What are going to be the predictions? Well, Jake and I are a little bit separated on this one. Jake is going with Tennessee. I am going with Baltimore. It's just hard for me to look past the way Baltimore has been playing right now. Tennessee, I'm rooting for Tennessee. I like Tennessee. I've got nothing against Tennessee. The problem with their defense, though, is what concerns me, and the ability to give up a lot of big plays. If Tennessee gives up some big plays to Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, or some of these other wide receivers, it could end up being a long, long day. If they cannot keep Baltimore off the field, it could be a long, long day. So Jake and I split on this one, but that's okay. It's going to be a fun matchup regardless. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the best part about this matchup is relatively healthy, and that's what we need to see from this group. So what's your prediction, Headliner Nation? What do you think? Who do you think is going to take home the dub in this matchup? Is it Tennessee? Is it Baltimore? And why? Let us know down in the comments below. And of course, we'll get to as many as possible. Hey, if you're popping into the Fantasy Headliners for the very first time, hit that subscribe button, stick around, become a part of Headliner Nation today. And of course, like the content if you appreciate it. Headliner Nation, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Fantasy Headliners. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out.